Hi everybody, welcome today. We'll be starting just a few minutes here right at the top of the hour. Looking forward to it a lot. We're streaming in multiple locations today. You can find us in Zoom, you can find us in WhatsApp, you can find us in Facebook, you can find us in quite a few of them here today, including YouTube, and of course on our own website. We hope you enjoy today's show. It's put together with a lot of love. A spav, everyone. Welcome, light workers. Glad you're here today. It's an exciting day here in Las Vegas. We've got really nice temperatures. I know you watch the news and you see that it's 104 degrees here. That's actually pretty comfortable for us for the most part. We're very used to and set up for this type of heat. Anyway, welcome today. I'm glad you're here. Absolutely thrilled to be here today with all of you. I just got back from Belgium, and we just finished a good day of sessions. And of course, we had a little social gathering in Belgium that I was very excited about. Just a little opportunity. I think there was probably less than 15 people there, but it was just wonderful to get together with people and see people in that way. And we hope to do that more in the future as we kind of get together. So welcome today. You can watch us a number of different ways. As I mentioned, we're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on our own website is one of our favorites, obviously, because you can see everything and all the other connections to it. We're also streaming on Zoom. Now, we're not going to be bringing anybody in today or doing any 2-minute readings today, but I do want to stream on Zoom regularly for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons is that you can have this translated in the closed captions into 14 different languages. So if you're in a country and you'd rather see it in your own language rather than listen to it in English, you can do that in Zoom. And we'll have that set up every month. So glad you're with us here. I got a lot of things to cover here today before I get into the channels. The group is very excited about the channels today. So we'll see where they're going to go. You know, it's really interesting because our staff is absolutely incredible. And Elena writes me every month and asks me what we're going to talk about. You know, what can we tell people as we send out the little notification that we send out about the virtual light? What can we tell you about what we're going to be talking about? And I try to give her a little description that the group says, okay, we're leaning in this direction, we're going here. But they change it at the last minute a lot, and they're changing it today. I think you'll enjoy today's message a lot, especially the second one. I don't always know where we're going with things. I try to stay, if they tell me things and I pass it on to you, I try to stay with that. But today we have a lot of changes going on with the material that we're going to be presenting today. So I hope you enjoy it. Absolutely. I'm going to have a seat here, and we're going to bring in a little bit more of this so we can kind of talk a little bit about this and see where we're going. I do have some announcements to make. I'm not going to be playing any promo videos. We do a lot of classes here. We do a lot of things online as well as in person. But right now, we are going to start increasing all of that. There's going to be quite a lot that we're offering here on different levels, at different price points and different things. We're going to open up quite a lot of these teachings, including bringing back some of our old favorites. I'm not ready to quite make those announcements yet because we have so many other things going on. But let me just tell you what's coming up here in the next month or so. And that way I don't have to play all the promo videos to show you what's taking place as well on this. Number one, before we get started here, you may have seen this laying on my desk. This is a magical little book called Awakening the Sacred Heart, A Journey to Planetary Christ Consciousness. And this is by a very good, a wonderful person, friend of mine by the name of Carlos Rubio. Carlos and Sonia are friends. We've been friends for a long time. And I just wanted to tell you this. I'd love to be able to do a book review. I'd love to tell you everything that's inside this book, but the group will not let me read other people's material. What I do is many times when somebody in the family, you guys that are watching this, what we call the spiritual lightworker family, wish to have a foreword or a cover blurb for the back of your book, something of that nature, and you write to me, I'll be happy to do that for you. Once your book is published, if you'll send me a copy of it, I'll bring it here for everybody to see. That's what happened with Carlos's book. Carlos's book is available on Amazon. I'm sure it's available other places as well, including his own website. So you've got a lot that you can choose from here as far as taking a look at it. But very magical. What I do, so that you'll know, I don't read your book. I can't. The group, I'll read a paragraph and then I'll go to the next paragraph and the group will have erased the first paragraph. I don't remember what it's about. So they do not let me read other people's material because they really don't want me getting mixed up with what they're showing me and what I'm reading from the outside. So I just wanted to let you know that is one of the things that we'll be doing. But what I do often do is look at the table of contents. And I kind of get an idea of where you're at, what's going on, and what you're covering here is a lot of this. So this is a really practical, magical book that I want to recommend to people. And it's called Awakening the Sacred Heart by Carlos Rubio. Carlos, by the way, is also a regular contributor in the Sedona Journal. So he's one of the people that are right there with me every month, writing articles for the Sedona Journal, along with Carolyn Gervais and several other people that we've covered with previous times where I've picked up their books and shown you their books as well. So that's the newest one that we've done here recently, but I did want to bring you that one. Okay, got to look at my notes real quick because we have too much going on for me to remember. Okay, first one, coming up in just a couple of weeks, a few weeks here, is the CLP, the clip. CLPP, actually, we're going to call it. And that is the Conscious Life Path Programming Seminar. This is it is a modality that we'll be teaching people. But at the same time, it's not just for healers. It's also for people who wish to better themselves, to really get on their path. That's the idea. And what we do with this is we're going to spend 3 days teaching you this modality. It is a certified modality. You will receive afterwards a PDF with your certificate in it, showing that you have taken this course and that you are certified to use it. And it's a very magical approach to being able to work with the bodysuit. Many of you familiar with our work know that we've been talking a lot about the bodysuit. We'll talk about the bodysuit in the very beginning of it to describe it, and then we'll go into the ways of actually working with that and clearing your own life path. We work with the history, whether it's in this lifetime or a previous lifetime, doesn't make any difference. We go to clear old energy stamps. And energy stamps, again, are from the book Spiritual Psychology. We'll be clearing a lot of that material and being able to work with that to bring that in. Also, in that, we'll be also working with creating the path forward. We're going to kind of create some avatars for people to be able to use and to be able to work with this so that they can get a very clear path of what it feels like to be on your own path of least resistance. That is the CLPP program. We're CLIP for short, if you will, Cognitive Life Path Programming. I'm very excited to be bringing this to you. We did something similar to this many years ago. We taught inverse wave therapy, which was all about clearing the past, and it was mostly about clearing the past. This is not only about clearing the past in your own history, but also about setting specific areas going toward your future. So it isn't just limited to that, it does include a little bit of that to kind of work with it and clear your path. But we're going to work with the bodysuit, we're going to work with clearing your history, then we're going to work with setting your own life path for going forward. I'll be teaching that here in Las Vegas on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of this month, August. It will be a fairly small group. We do not have a large turnout with this. But I'm also really thrilled to tell you that Juliana Raymond, who is on this program regularly and is on this program coming up very soon. Matter of fact, I think she's going to be the first one we're going to bring up. Juliana will be with us here live, and she'll be presenting a little bit of her work and also have some books and so forth and a table where you can talk to her and communicate. And especially being a small group, this is going to be a very intimate seminar. So if you have the opportunity to come join us, August 26th, 27th, and 28th here in Las Vegas, we're very excited about it. It's down at the old part of Las Vegas, the Fremont Street Experience. Now, many people are concerned because it is in summer and it is very hot out and we are in the desert. But this is a really fascinating place called the Fremont Street Experience. Hotels are on both sides of it. We have Binions over here. We have the Four Queens over here. And there's this huge dome that goes all the way up and down the entire block. That dome has misters all around it, and it almost feels like it's air conditioned. It's not quite as comfortable as air conditioning. You are outside, but they have managed to really bring the temperature down in this on the Fremont Street experience. So if you're concerned about the heat, I will tell you, it is hot in Las Vegas. You'll feel it as soon as you get off the airplane, and as soon as you step out those doors, it'll hit you right in the face. But we're pretty much prepared here, and I think you'll really enjoy what we have planned for you here. Anyway, we'll be doing the CLPP on August 26th, 27th, and 28th here in Las Vegas. Coming up right even before that, here online in just a week or two, is on August 18th and the 25th. We're going to be doing Connecting with the Earth. And you may be familiar with the fact that we've been talking a lot about planet Earth lately. She's making a lot of changes. There's a lot of shifting going on. We've seen the effects of it all over the place. You're seeing huge parts of redistribution of water. We talked about last month, the group talked about the Earth wobble, how that is starting to progress. I'm thrilled about this because we talked about the Earth wobble quite some years ago, and we're pretty much out there by ourselves. Now, even NASA is talking about the Earth wobble. So I'm very thrilled to be bringing that to you. That is due to the redistribution of water, which is why we have severe droughts in some areas and severe flooding in other areas. Things are changing quite a bit. In this Earth, Connecting with the Earth seminar, we're going to talk about some of the negative things that are taking place. We're going to talk about the jet stream. We're going to talk about the Gulf Stream. We're going to talk about the incredible possibility, which looks more like that every day, of the fact of us possibly going into a mini ice age coming up in the fairly near future. So we're going to talk about all these aspects of it, and we're also going to talk about what we can do. This is not just to give you bad news or to tell you what's happening with the Earth. This is to gather people as light workers so that we can start connecting with the Earth. I have asked Kathy to do a part on crystals. She's our resident crystal expert here. She's on the staff. Kathy actually handles the help desk. So any of you that have ever had a challenge with anything and filled out one of those help desk tickets, it's Kathy that's responding to you. She's also an incredible light worker and a channel herself and does incredible work with crystals. So we've asked her to put together a little segment for this as well. So that'll all be happening in 2 days on August 18th and 25th, coming up in the empowerment stream. Now, as you may know, the empowerment stream is 2 days a month. It's the last 2 Fridays of each month. The first 2 Fridays of each month are dedicated to lightmasters. And not only do lightmasters get the first 2 days, but they also get the empowerment stream. So if you're a lightmaster, you never have to sign up for these empowerment stream seminars that we're talking about every month. They're part of your package. And we're also starting a whole new section of Lightmaster coming up. We've just put it up. It's Lightmaster 2400. It will be running specifically to work in many different areas. We don't tell you that it's all going to be about this or it's all going to be about this, but the general overview that the group wants to work on for all people in Lightmaster is prosperity. Learning to live a prosperous lifestyle. And we're not just talking about money. Money's a part of it. We hope to bring you all the keys of that as well. But we're talking about living a prosperous lifestyle as a spirit. Because the reality is you don't have any more prosperity than you have at home. So bringing that here and learning to accept that, to live this lifestyle, that is going to be the overall arching theme for the Lightmasters for Lightmaster 2400. It starts in September and actually in October, but you can get in early. It doesn't make any difference because you can sign up for Lightmaster at any time and run for the year or run. We actually made a 6-month package available for people. Surprisingly, a lot of people take that 6-month package. But I have to tell you, you can take the 12-month package and get a reduced rate. And if you're unhappy with it at any time, you can cancel at any time. So I just want to make it clear that the 12-month package is by far the best deal. It's $111 a month. You get not only the Lightmasters in the first 2 Fridays of the month, but you get the empowerment stream on the last 2, whatever we're talking about in the specialized topics that we work with. So those are the things coming up there. On top of that, as I told you, we got a lot of things going on right now. We got more than I'm even going to tell you about right here. We're actually going to be redesigning the front page of our website to list all the things that are coming up in the near future, because we have so many things that we're starting to present and make available for people. We're also going to be doing a questions seminar, questions for the Lightworker path, to be able to step into higher vibrations. And these are any questions that you want to ask. Now, we ask that you not ask personal questions. We're not going to say, we don't want the type of, we're not going to read the type of questions that are about a personal situation. In other words, I just lost the love of my life, what do I do? Or how come I can't do this? Or how come I'm ill, what can I do? Those are personal questions. But the larger questions, what happened at the beginning of the universe? What took place on planet Earth? Why are we here? How do we channel? The larger questions that involve a lot of people, those are the questions we're going to answer. We have a specific address that you can write those questions to, and we're doing the second one of these questions seminars. We're probably going to stop after this for the simple reason that we have so many things going on, we need to kind of cut it down. There is an entrance to this. We do charge for this seminar, but we charge a whopping $5. So we will tell you, I don't know how long it's going to be. It all depends on how many questions we have. Elka is going to be reading me the questions. We'll be recording that. Your questions need to be in by the 12th of this month. That would be this next weekend, a weekend from now. So if you're interested in that, go sign up for it, pay the $5, and send your questions in to that special address, that special email address that we have, and we will cover that. That is actually going to be on August 30th. So on August 30th, we'll be doing the live Q&A to be bringing you that. The first one was incredible. I loved it because it allowed me and the group to actually cover a whole bunch of things that we haven't talked about in a very long time. And when we start putting all these things together, it really makes sense as to where we are and what we're doing here on planet Earth. So I will tell you, that's coming up as well. That's the questions seminar. There's a link right at the top of the website for that as well, so that you can see that. Then we talked about the CLPP, the Conscious Life Path Programming that we're doing here in Las Vegas. We just signed a contract a couple of days ago to do this in Breda, Netherlands. We will be in Breda, which is in the southern part of Netherlands, very close to the Belgian border, where I actually may be living at some point. We'll see. She hasn't kicked me out yet, so far so good. Anyway, we'll be doing the Conscious Life Path Programming in Breda on November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We have nothing on the website yet. The staff doesn't even know I've signed these contracts yet. They're probably freaking out that I'm even mentioning this right now because there's no place you can go to read about it at this moment. But we will get that set up just as soon as possible. But please mark your calendars well in advance. It's a 3-day seminar, certified programming about the cognitive life path programming that the group is going to present here in Breda. Also, what else we got? We got one more somewhere. Oh, Lightmaster 2400. I already talked about it. That's enough for now, except I will tell you one other aspect. We're bringing back spiritual psychology. Spiritual psychology, the 12 primary life lessons, was the group's and mine best-selling book. It went out of print a little while back because basically we got into a trademark deal with MGM Studios, and although we had all the legal rights to use the word lightworker, we basically let go of it. It's just too much of a hassle trying to work with all the law and fight things and do all the rest. So we let go of it. And at that time, I had to pull off the books. All of the books that were printed under the Lightworker logo were let go. Spiritual psychology is back. It's back right now. We just brought it back to Amazon.com. I'll be bringing it even further than that. Hopefully you'll even find it in your favorite bookstore in the next several months. It's going to take a little while to get there because we have to line it up with the different distributors and so forth, and I haven't done that in several years. But Spiritual Psychology was translated into 18 languages along with several of my first books, and that was probably the most life-changing of all the books. We're also bringing Spiritual Psychology online. I will do an updated version of Spiritual Psychology. I am going to cover the 12 primary life lessons, but that is not the main focus of this seminar. This seminar will also be about covering all the aspects that are in the book Spiritual Psychology, including night games, including the 7 stages of life, including a lot of the other aspects which were only lightly covered in some of the other seminars that we've done on spiritual psychology. Again, spiritual psychology is a healing course. So just like cognitive life path programming, it's a modality. What spiritual psychology is a modality for you to give you tools to do private sessions with people. And that is something that's coming up big. As far as my private sessions, you can look on the website and find the private sessions that we have now set up for August. There are still openings, and we'll be bringing them just shortly before, at the end of each month, I'll put them up for the next month. But we will be bringing my private sessions to a close in the near future. And I will tell you that I'm simply getting way too busy with the other material that we're putting out. The private sessions are very powerful. A lot of people have written in about them. A lot of people have written reviews. You can see many of them on the website as to know what to expect. But they're very powerful, and I will be doing them in August and probably September, but it looks like at this point I may be dropping them after September. Simply running out of time. Going to be doing way too many things. So to make sure that we give absolute the highest potential to everything, we're going to be stepping out of the private sessions for a little while. Probably bring them back in a few months to be able to do a few more, because I love doing the private sessions. I have to tell you that. Spiritual psychology are the tools that I use in my private sessions. And they're the ways of identifying things, to be able to look at them. Whether you follow all the aspects that we give you or not is entirely up to you. It's not about a belief system that you have to follow ABC, but it gives you incredible tools about working with people. So spiritual psychology will be coming back online. Lightmasters will get a discount for spiritual psychology. I will tell you that. You do get free of charge, of course, the empowerment series, but the healing seminars will be separate and they will be outside of Lightmaster. Although we treat our Lightmasters pretty well. We give you a substantial discount for the private sessions that we do, and we try to treat you the best because you are the inside team working with us. So I will tell you, we will give you a discount coming up for spiritual psychology. Right now it's set up for September. We'll see. I don't like to completely announce the dates yet this moment because we have so many different things going on. It will stretch over 3 months. I'll be giving 3 days each month, the first month, the second month, and the third month. So that would be September, October, and November at this point. I probably will end up pulling that back to October, November, and December. That's why I'm not giving dates right at the moment, but we will be doing that, and I'm very honored to bring this to you. I also want to tell you really quickly about some of the fun things that I get to do. I'm a technical nerd. I know, I can't figure Zoom out, but that's okay. But I build the computers, I've created the studio here, and a lot of fun things about that. And we've just discovered some new tools that are AI driven that I am very excited about, and they have to do with our audio. Now, you know what we've done here. We've brought in people that we've got Meg, we've got Juliana, we've got Allison, and we've got Sandy Sedgebear, who are all doing segments from their home. Most of the time, these segments are not in recording studios. And you hear this little room echo that just kind of drains on you after a while. We have new technology that just starts this month to remove that. It is AI driven. I am extremely happy with this. I'm an audiophile, so to me, I don't turn on the little Bluetooth speaker with my cell phone. I have speakers all over my house, big bass woofers and speakers that are, anyway, I'm very particular about sound. So today is the first day that I'm very honored to bring you very high quality sound in all of the segments that we're doing today. And I'll try to keep that going as long as we can. It's a lot of work for me to do in the morning before I do these broadcasts. I had to get up this morning at 4:30. So anyway, I'm sure I'll get faster at it, but I just want to let you know I'm very proud of the sound that we will be bringing you today in all of the segments, and I hope you enjoy it. Please feel free to write us too. Let us know what's going on. If you have challenges finding the emails to get to us, you can, if you're a Lightmaster, you have a special Lightmaster email that you send to that we answer every single week. If you're, I don't know which ones we're using right now, so I can't say that, but you can always go to the bottom of any page at aspavo.org and find that little support button. You can always leave one there. That's Kathy. Kathy answers the support thing, and if you send just a simple comment, that way we can find out what's taking place with you and what you like as well. We will be sending out some surveys and some different things to be able to get your opinion on different things. But right now, if you'd like to let us know what you're interested in and what really works for you and what you like and what you don't like, you can just go ahead and put it in that support ticket. Kathy may not get back to you because if it's just a comment, it just goes directly to me. I get to read it, and then I will either respond if need be or not. Most of the time I don't respond, but I love to hear what's going on with you and how you're accepting all this. So I hope you enjoy today. I'm very honored to be there with you. Okay, so I'm going to be working here with bringing in the group. We're going to be talking about doing the first channel here in just a second. Let me get my seat situated a little better. There we go. Anyway, I'll be doing the first channel here right now, and after we're done today, I'm jumping in the pool. Elka and Nell are already in the pool out there having fun. I will be out there very soon to join them. So I'm honored to be with you all here today. Welcome home, light workers. Okay, we'll bring the group in for the first channel, and know that you are loved. Aspavo. Greetings, dear ones. I am Observer. I look from afar with the most wonderful eyes, because what I see first is love. That is the most important connection that we can bring you and have you see in yourselves. We'll be talking a little bit about this later as Meria comes in to bring the next part of this event this day. But we tell you the gathering of Earth is taking place right now. And although you see difficulties every time you turn on your television, every time you read the newspaper, if there are newspapers still being written, the reality is that everything is changing. You see, we're not worried. Yes, change is at hand. But we also tell you the most incredible angels have found their way to planet Earth and have been distributed in key parts throughout the whole globe to not only be able to carry the light and to speak it aloud, but also sometimes just to hold it in general, to bring the beautiful energy of home to planet Earth at all times. You are those angels, dear ones. You are those incredible beings that we love so dearly to watch from home. You see the higher aspects, and you sometimes get wrapped up in the lower aspects, as all humans do. But we see you as masters walking on a very dense planet. You've come in to bring the higher vibrations of the new planet Earth, to bring the templates of the higher work, and to bring the love that is necessary to activate those templates. it is actually taking place at an incredible point. Now, yes, we know the division on your planet. The division has been done intentionally. And no matter what division you're in, whether you talk about politics or products that you buy or whatever it is, if you are on one side or the other, dear ones, you have been divided, have you not? So keep in mind, it's incredibly important during these times to not divide yourselves, to look at the ways that you are alike rather than focus on the ways you are different. Yes, a lot of differences are going to be here, but the bodysuit itself can be programmed. You can program it yourself, or you can allow it to be programmed by default, by every ad that you see on your television, by every ad that you see even as you drive down the road. That is actually programming your bodysuit, sometimes just simply through repetition. But it's a magical time to be here, because the reality is, dear ones, you brought a part from home. You're carrying something that no one else can carry in the way that you can carry it. And that is the highest aspect of love that you have available. We're going to work with you to help bring those to the forefront of your being. And again, you're not here to convince someone or to bring someone to your side or to do anything of that nature. But what if you just walked around with a smile on your face? What if you made eye contact with every single being that you saw as you walked through your life? And you smiled. Well, we'll tell you what will happen, because that's why you are here. What happens is you recognize them from home. You remember their spirit in some way, even if they're on the other side of something you are working with. The reality is you're all beautiful beings from home. And with bringing that energy in and reminding people who they really are, sets the template for the new earth. And that is working at incredible pace. Now, the earth herself, as we mentioned, only had about 70 years of support left for humans, moving very quickly in different areas. But she is doing everything she can to change that outcome. She's evolving and evolving in different ways herself to be able to support the now 8 billion people that are tipping the scales of weighing her down. And you have a huge part of that, whoever you are. Now, we know some of you do not believe you are teachers. Some of you do not think you are healers. Some of you do not think you're even light workers. You may just be curious as to what's going on, but we tell you, you would not be here right now. You would not be listening to, watching, or reading this message at this moment if you did not have an important role to play yourself. Now, there are many who've decided that they're done. They just want to go home. They don't want to be here any longer. But we'll tell you, dear ones, there are no beings on planet Earth that are here just taking up space. There's an absolute test that you can do to see if all your contracts are finished, if you're all complete with planet Earth and you're ready to go home. It's very simple. You take a small mirror and you hold it up to your nose. And if it fogs up, you're not done. It's that simple. We hope you enjoy your journey, dear ones. We will give you tools as we go forward to try and make your lives a little more comfortable as well. And we're going to be working, as the Keeper said, with prosperity, specifically focusing the entire next year of Lightmaster on prosperity and living in a prosperous world, living in prosperous lifestyle. No matter what's taking place with the economy, no matter what's taking place with gas prices, with inflation, or anything else, that has nothing to do with living in a prosperous lifestyle and creating prosperity in your world. And we tell you, dear ones, that is the natural state of spirit. That's difficult for some humans. You've come in with these incredible gifts. You've come in as empaths. and you feel everyone's energy around you. And most of the time you take that into consideration with whatever you're doing. Will this work? Am I going to offend anyone? Am I going to take something away from people? And many times, dear ones, you live a less than prosperous lifestyle for the simple reason that you feel everything and you believe somewhere down inside in lack. Lack is the belief that if you have something or you get more, that you're taking it away from someone else. That is not the case. The reality is, when you can bring prosperity into your lifestyle in full meaning, you open it up for everyone. You create a higher vibration, even in economics, and especially in love. Meria will speak of love in a new way, coming up at the end of this event. She has a very special picture to give you, to let you see that. But in order to fully understand this, we also ask you to know about prosperity, to know your place in this world. You've been placed here by commitment, your commitment. Yes, some of you feel like you were pushed into this life, like you really didn't want to be here, but somebody pushed you in, or somebody said, no, you have to be here at this time. Let me tell you, dear ones, some of you went in kicking and screaming at the last minute, but you set it up yourselves. You even set up the difficulties. You set up the challenges, because no one has a complete experience unless you rise above challenges. We tell you, you're going to be able to write a new life story. That's why we're giving you cognitive life path programming, to write a purposeful story for yourself that can guide your path going forward. Because you deserve to be happy, dear ones. You see, we see you as the greatest angels that have ever lived. And we mean that wholeheartedly. You think of angels as being in heaven or at home, of having a higher vibration without physical bodies. But we tell you, there was quite a few beings that took off their wings and jumped into a field of density in order to be here at this exact moment. And here you are. Welcome home, dear ones. We can't wait to see what you do next. And with that, we will leave you for now, for there is much coming here. Meria will be in a little bit later to speak of love and the connections going forward. As we've mentioned to you, there is a portal open on planet Earth. And every time we've spoken of that portal, which is supposed to close on August 27th, yet we tell you it is going to stay open, we do believe. You're on the planet of free choice, so there are still many things that can close it, yet it is heading in a wonderful direction. Because every time we've spoken about it, we've asked you one question: how much love can you hold? You're doing well, and you need to know that. And with that, I will leave you for the moment. But it is with the absolute greatest pleasure that I come to you in this way and ask you to treat each other with the highest respect, to nurture one another at every opportunity, to play well together. It's a beautiful game. Aspavo, dear ones, I am observer, and I love you.
Hello again, light travelers. I am Juliana Raymond, a fellow light traveler and wisdom teacher. I know Steve and the group are concerned about a rising element of fear, especially with the opening of the portal. There are massive amounts of energy being broadcast towards the Earth, asking all to release compromising emotional factors or unbalanced energy stored within individual life systems. The unbalanced energy can be easily identified as those annoying memories that hauntingly present, and that energy that manifests as feeling uncomfortable without knowing the source. Those unfamiliar with energy fluctuations may find their energy systems reacting to the magnetic pulsations in an unfavorable manner that cause one to become overreactionary to a volume of sensationalistic factors. When not addressed with calm reason, fear can be the resultant reaction. Let's take a moment and look at some of the properties of fear and perhaps how you can transmute its effect on your personal life. I've been teaching spiritual seekers for years that nothing out of balance with every individual's desired life design can remain. That's a rather general statement that might easily be dismissed until toxic components surface in your life. This is happening more and more with the opening of the portal and accentuated with the addition of two powerful astrologic events: a solar eclipse followed by a lunar eclipse, the effects of which will linger for several months, bringing to the surface anything out of balance with the Earth and her recalibration, along with the direction humanity should be seeking. For a moment, let's look at the history of fear. Fear has been a dominant force used to suppress and control humanity for centuries, and unfortunately, fear is still active today. Somewhere in history, alliances formed and determined it could be advantageous to become ruling bodies, especially if a body of constituents were not as educated as their ruling authorities. And by doing so, alliance benefits could be extremely lucrative, either to secure prestige, power, or the products that this would bring. Thus began a cycle of power and greed that unfortunately is still prevalent in today's society. Fear is not always bad. Fear serves as an emotional reaction designed to propel us into action. It acts as a survival mechanism, causing us to search for resolution to pending challenges. Fear has taught us to be attentive, and it has often been our first response when faced with the unexpected. When faced with weather and earth anomalies, the fear impulse fuels our resourcefulness to provide escape, initial survival instincts, or perform miraculous feats of rescue. Fear, then, is a natural reaction designed to provide us with protective instincts. Recognizing fear triggers can be a minefield of manipulative tactics designed to keep us entangled in the reactionary control mechanism that prevents us from elevating our consciousness to higher levels of reason. Does anyone remember the movie Groundhog Day? It was a tale of a reporter on assignment caught on a daily pattern of repetitive routine. Only when one element changed could the repetitive pattern change, thus altering the preceding events. When the universe wants to alert you something needs resolution, you first start receiving inner reflections that some thought or action might not be in your highest alignment. But if early nudges aren't getting your attention, more drastic measures are taken by your guidance team to get you to pay attention. This is when the rug literally gets pulled out from underneath your feet and your guidance team says, "Now, can you hear me now?" Hopefully, you paid attention to the simpler nudges, but if you're like me, I can be fairly stubborn or distracted by a myriad of life interventions that cause me to overlook early reflections. Not to worry, the universe is very persistent, especially in getting your attention. Too often, we become locked with the cycles of our own daily routines without realizing their repetitive patterns. Our concerns and issues often identify areas in our lives that need attention. These may have been acquired through childhood memories, a life event, or emotional hypersensitivity. Our experiences determine how we react to the intrusions we choose to allow to control our lives, to prevent us from experiencing the freedom of enjoyable living. The technologic age is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it provides us with instant access to what's happening around the world. But on the other, it sends a ripple of fear throughout emotional systems. We are constantly bombarded with an onslaught of noteworthy media that keeps us on the edge of our seats. A very wise contact informed me that whatever is presented via media resources is generally meant to distract us from discovering what's really going on behind the scenes. How is it that every broadcast media seems to present the same newsy noteworthiness on a constant basis? These are the headlines designed to keep you in a fear response, thus becoming a mechanism for control and manipulation. I'm not suggesting one not be aware of emerging events, but I am suggesting individuals need to examine the origin of the news, the ramifications of the event, and the best resolution, and begin projecting thoughts to create the most powerful and positive outcome. No one can deny that our current economic progress isn't stellar, or that the world isn't in turmoil with varying uprisings, or that unprecedented weather extremes aren't compromising current living. But these needn't be the compromising forces that define our living experience. With a little global cooperation, world economies can finally start cooperating to provide stabilizing measures. And when countries become linked together through commerce and economics, no country could declare war on another because the effects would be too devastating. We're learning to use our voices to restore balance and order to controlling factions. What you focus on most is what you draw closest to you if you allow fear to steer your life. Until you are able to break the cycle, you will continue to draw the repetitive cycle into your life. It's a magnet. Powerful magnet. Realizing we collectively have the ability to change any restrictive situation allows us to realign, gain confidence and stability, projecting positive insight throughout pending turmoil will draw positive action. Break the cycle of fear by changing your thought. Look beyond a presenting situation to see pending opportunity. I hope this presentation opens up a window in which you can view those elements that may be compromising your life journey and help you release the controlling mechanics of fear. Once again, I am Juliana Raymond, a wisdom teacher, an energy sensitive, and a quantum healer. I've created a free podcast series, Life is a Spiritual Soup, covering a variety of subjects designed to inform and assist with your life navigation. You can find these on Spotify, Google Play, and through my website, julianaraymond.com. In addition, I provide private consultations to help individuals understand restrictive lifestyles, and I present a variety of workshops designed to enhance daily living. I can be reached at julianaraymond@gmail.com. Now back to Steve.
Thank you, Jill. And of course, Juliana is going to be a guest speaker for us and in Las Vegas coming up at August 26th, 27th, and 28th at the CLPP. Now we have, let's see, who do we have next? We got Meg. Meg has got some incredible stuff here talking about illness. Check this out. Illness and the illusion of time. The whole concept of time. I can't wait to hear it. I haven't heard it myself, but here we go. Welcome, Meg Adamson.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you again this month. What I want to talk about this month in my segment is illness and the perception of time. Recently, I just went through a bit of an issue with a back injury, and it got me contemplating even further. And that's what I want to bring forward today to sort of dissect, pull apart, and really get into the underlying root of it and how that does or does not fit into today's model of how we show up in the world. So the perception of time, what is that to us? Right? That's linear, isn't it? We've got to be somewhere. We've got to work 40 to 60 hours a week. We've got kids to look after or parents to take care of or commitments with friends and colleagues or our own study. Maybe you've got something you're doing on the side. We fill those 16 hours a day. And then maybe you watch a little TV or you read a book or you meditate or you take a nap or you go for a walk. I like to walk every night after work. Here in the East Coast, we have had so much rain that, I'm getting on a treadmill inside, and it's not quite the same as being out connecting to nature. You've heard me in previous pieces talk about how we're almost in that environmental hypnosis where we're just communing with what's around us, with all that is, and how important that is. So we spend most of our time in this active state of doing, right? We're taking action. We're getting to work. We're checking off our to-do list. We're getting the groceries. We're cooking on the weekends to set ourselves up well for the week. We are constantly busy. And then something happens. Something happens that surprises us. We get an illness. We're not feeling well. We hit an emotional wall. And boom, it has our attention, right? Our soul path or our spirit path or our purpose while we're here, however you want to describe that inner knowing that each of us have in our gut, that you're here to grow, you're here to learn, you're here to contribute, right? Hear the words. Those don't respond to linear time. Those are basic human needs. The first for safety, to have a roof over our heads, to have shelter, to have food, to have water, to have what we need to actually survive. That's a basic human need. The next is connection. We are wired to be part of a community, to connect with others, to have some meaning. And the third is contribution. As we develop the first two, there is a basic human need to make our life mean something, to contribute back to the whole, whether that's macrocosmic to the world or whether that's microcosmic. You begin to contribute, you feel more value. You feel that gut check of, I'm on the right path here. And that may be just being kind to your neighbors, taking an interest, feeling like the safety of others' children is your responsibility too, being a good neighbor, the way that we contribute and how we feel about that. And if we're not meeting those basic human needs, we feel out of balance. We may not know what it is, but it's worth checking one of those. Now, when we have something happen that we are not expecting, or it comes by surprise, or it's shocking, we don't talk about how it's a communication. That's not in our current model of wellness. That our soul responds to whatever layer of growth you're ready for. Hear it, hear the words. What's the next level? What's the next layer that I am ready for? We don't look at illness as an important conversation. We look at it as more of an inconvenience, maybe something scary. How do we get through it? Give me the pill, fix it up. How long is this going to take? How long will I be in this cast? I remember when I nearly died back in 2002, when I got really sick. And it was this combination of being away in Europe a few months before, then coming back and still not feeling well. I had this virus and it was like a flu that wouldn't go away. And then I got food poisoning when I went out to dinner with a friend. And that was it. That went into my inner ear. And I had extreme vertigo and I was losing consciousness. And for 8 straight months, I could not walk a straight line. I was leaning against a wall in order to get somewhere. And that's when you're dealing with something that's chronic or feeling like long-term, it can really start to mess with your thoughts. You can start to think, is this it? Is this the new normal? What's normal for me? And then we start to think, well, how do I get back? We're in a hurry. How do I get back to that life that I had? I had a good life. I had a lot of friends. I had a great social life. I had a lot of fun. How do I get back to that? And there isn't going back to that. There's a, what am I ready for next? What's the next level? Now, sometimes it may be a short spurt, as long as you get the message. If we're just pushing it away to get back to something, it'll come back, right? That's what happens. What we're not talking about is that whole approach to wellness, which is, what is this trying to teach me? Now, it may be a quality of strength and courage, but as a clinical hypnotherapist, what I have been seeing both personally in my own life and now with so many clients that I work with is that illness is about a conversation kind of with the divine, with that inner knowing, all-knowing part of you, that contribution, that reason why you're here, that whether that's a course correction, whether that's new information ready to drop in, that's part of your healing process that's going to be so important for you to share later with others on the other side of it. But what I do know is that there is no forcing that into a linear time conversation. There is no o'clock in the subconscious mind. It's not healing o'clock, hurry up, I got to get back to work. That doesn't exist in the subconscious mind. What does exist in the subconscious and superconscious mind is a congruency, right? There is our perception of ourselves as a human, as an extension of all that is. And our subconscious mind knows the all that is, and it built us. It created every cell that made us. It knows exactly how to heal us. And the superconscious knows the route to that. But we have to be able to access that. And we don't access that in our busy doing conscious day. And if we approach healing from just the busy doing conscious level, we are missing the conversation. And the conversation, the most important piece today, is that the conversation is about the subconscious mind using your body, because that's what it governs over, using your body as a way to get your attention, as a way to say, hey, we've got inconsistency here. Superconscious mind knows all of you and your important piece, why you are here, your soul growth, your spiritual development, who you are becoming. It knows the road, but what you are currently telling yourself is not congruent with that road. You've got beliefs here. You've got thoughts about this. We've got fears. We've got the next level of our growth that you're now ready for. You've been circling it, maybe. You've been seeing the signs. Maybe you've been having the thoughts or the conversations. Maybe you're just scared. You don't want to leave that job. You don't want to leave that relationship. Maybe you don't want to set healthy boundaries. Maybe you don't want to say out loud, here's what I'm willing to accept. And here's where I think things could be a lot better. And here's what I'm willing to contribute to that. But the rest I'm not taking responsibility for. Or I love this, but I really, really, in my gut check, just want to be doing this instead. There is an inner dialogue happening that you are very aware of. Maybe you want to deny it. Maybe you don't believe it's possible. Maybe hear it. Maybe you don't think you're capable of it and the world is giving you all the reasons and signals not to believe in yourself. But the subconscious mind does not respond to that linear way of thinking and feeling and being. Its job is to protect you, keep you safe, and move you towards pleasure and away from pain. So it is going to come knocking at your door when you have these deep desires and these beliefs that are inconsistent. They are incongruent. They are in conflict. And your body begins to be its way of communicating with you. So do you see how it's not logical to try to push it down, push it away, ignore it, get past it, hurry up and get back to work? We're missing the whole receiving end. And in that receiving is the wisdom. It's the conversation with creation. It's fascinating to me that plants, in the study of plants, there's a book, it's extraordinary, Secret Life of Plants, if you've never read it. And Cleve Baxter, if you don't know him, Cleve Baxter was the man who invented the lie detector test for the FBI in the United States. And how he determined it eventually was through putting the electrodes on his houseplant. And his houseplant started to respond, the meters would rise whenever he had thoughts about hurting it at first. It was about dipping a leaf in a cup of coffee, and the plant sensed pain or heat coming. And then when he thought about, he was a smoker back then, and he thought about burning one of the leaves, and the meters went crazy. And he thought, well, how is this happening? The plant doesn't have a nervous system. The plant doesn't have a brain. How is this being perceived, right? That all that is the energy that of creation that creates worlds, created you, right? Birth is a miracle that still can't even be fully explained. We have our genetics and we have how the body creates it, but where does that come from? Where does that innate ability come from? Right? It's extraordinary how we are made, and we are missing half of the conversation in our current model, which is this has deep meaning. Do we celebrate when we see people who are ill and say, wow, they are in a deep sacred space right now in a communication with themselves about their purpose and their path here? No, we don't. We get scared. We try to deny it. We try to say, everything's fine. You're fine. Instead of, you're really in it. And I'm celebrating that, even though it's uncomfortable for you right now. I'm here if you need me for anything, if you just want to talk, if you just want to share, if you just need to be scared and cry, it's all okay. You are in such a deep and sacred space right now, deciding your human basic needs. Maybe this is about how you're going to change things and how you're going to contribute to the world. That's what it was for me. If I went back to my old life in the film industry, I would have been a completely different person right now, doing a completely different job. But this was part of the path this lifetime, and that illness got me there. Right? I never would have studied the things. I never would have met the people. I never would have had the thoughts. It was all part of my innateness. But how it was going to be expressed, I wasn't on that path. So we hit forks in the road, and one may lead back to where we were, and that's perfectly fine if that's what feels congruent for you. But if it doesn't, and you're fighting that inner knowing, it will resurface, in my opinion. And if you choose the other road where it will lead to what it is that feels so good for you, yeah, there's going to be bumps. I'll tell you that right now. Change is hard. None of us like change. But if you honor that conversation, then you are working with the power that creates universes. And I think that it is a powerful source, that as you learn more and more about trusting yourself, think about what that is right there, what you learn to become, the skills you learn along the way are what you lean on when you start to do what it is you came here to do. So when you have an illness, when you have chronic pain, when you're being held for a while, that requires patience that you maybe don't have or you're out of, start to consider the conversation that's trying to occur and get your attention to make that congruent again internally for you. Remember the client I talked, in fact, if you didn't watch it, I would highly recommend you go back and see it. I believe it was in January. I did a piece called Illness Equals Communication. And I went into all the detail about the subconscious and superconscious mind and how it's not random, right? When I developed a thyroid disease and healed it, that was not random. Why it was thyroid for me, why it might be something else for you is not random. And we don't address that in today's current medical model, do we? We chalk a lot up to genetics, and the rest we say we don't really know. Stress is impactful. Diet is impactful. It's extraordinary. I watched a video the other day, and it was an older video. It was Deepak Chopra. And Deepak Chopra, it was, I think, probably 20 years ago. And they had done an experiment where rabbits were fed chemical substances that would have normally been toxic. Now, not toxic to kill them. This wasn't cruel. But it would have raised their cholesterol level because the immune system would have had a response. And so the cardiovascular system, all the messages would be sent to deal with this toxin. And what they found when they fed the toxin to the second group of rabbits, they stroked them. They loved them. And those rabbits transformed the toxic chemical, and there was no cholesterol increase. So back to Cleve Baxter, who was working with his plants, he then separated himself into another room and had the electrodes on the plant and had thoughts in the other room, and the plant still responded in the same way. He invited other scientists in because they actually wanted to debunk him. They came to disprove what he was saying, and they all left amazed and in agreement that this was actually happening. This consciousness, this sentience, this awareness. And what had happened was the scientists that came, the plants all went into a dormancy state, like a fake death. Like they called it fainting. There's nothing. They were non-responsive the entire time the scientists were there. And then as soon as he asked them, do you harm plants in your experiments? And they said, oh, yes, we bake them. We bake them until they're completely dead, and then we use them for testing. So the plants were all very much aware that who was in the room meant them harm, and they went into a fake death. As soon as he removed those scientists and brought another group of scientists in that did not harm plants, all the meters were working again. It's extraordinary. They found out that plants move like we do, but we can't see it. It's so slow, we can't see it. But they move towards the sun. They move away to give each other enough room for root systems. They protect themselves. Think about the skin rashes that we get, or the thorns and things on certain flowers. They will protect themselves from being consumed unless it is in their natural cycle and they are ready to let go. When oranges fall from a tree, because he kept replicating this, he went on to fruits, and the oranges that fell from the tree, rather than decay and die, the meters, they were happy to be consumed and be part of another organism. In other words, eaten. There is a consciousness in everything. We know this, but then what are we doing if we are being forced to slow down? Do we apply that same knowledge to ourselves, or are we simply inconvenienced? Are you working with the energy that created you and learning that conversation so that you are congruent, living the life you want to be living, having the health you want, the strength, the longevity, the positivity, contributing in the way that's meaningful for you? This is part of our purpose for being here. It's not just to be sheltered, and it's not just to be isolated. It's to connect, and it's to contribute. This is what, for me, clinical hypnotherapy, why it became so extraordinary, because it's not random. Remember, if you saw a few months back, I spoke about a client who came to me who had these terrible skin rashes occurring. And what we discovered was when she was younger, she was trained to eat everything on her plate, even though she didn't like some of the foods that were there. Now, I know parenting today has changed a little bit, but when I was younger, that's exactly what I lived with. It was finish what's on your plate, even when you did it, when you hated it, and you had to just sort of choke it down. Now, she learned when she was younger that she said, after that, I didn't know what I liked or what I didn't like. I just waited for someone to tell me what to do. I didn't know what I liked anymore. I never got the chance. I was sort of trained away from it. So why the skin rashes? Why was that the exact perfect match for her? Because if you think about the subconscious mind, remember, it's a conversation. So what's the conversation? It's trying to bring you back to congruency with superconscious, with subconscious and superconscious, that all-knowing part that knows who you really are. And if you're not believing that you can trust yourself, and if you're not believing that you know what you like or what you don't like or how you're contributing, then that is going to be something the subconscious mind is going to try to get your attention around. How does it get your attention? Through skin rashes. Do you see the brilliance in that? So she had all of the wellness team. She had her naturopath and her doctor, and she had people helping her doing all the things, right? The elimination diet and supplementation and so forth. But clinical hypnotherapy gets into the underlying belief system around that. So isn't it beautiful when you come to the understanding that through understanding why the skin rashes occurred, the subconscious mind is trying to bring you back into a place of where you will trust yourself and that you do know what you like. And what a more brilliant way to do that than through skin rashes, so that you get to decide which foods work for you and which don't. We're going all the way back to childhood here. It's a perfect match in the subconscious mind. It's extraordinary. And so what you're experiencing isn't random. Why it is the way that it is for you is an absolute match. The decoder is finding out why and how it helps put you back on the path, because that's what it's for. And it's not about how quickly can we get back to work, how quickly can we not be inconvenienced by this. You see what's missing today? Half of the conversation is missing. The half that resides below the conscious level of awareness and the linear way of living and being. And I thought that was a conversation worth having. Thank you. I so appreciate you. If you are struggling with something right now and I can be of any help, just reach out to me through my website. I do have a bit of a wait list to work with me, but know that you have everything within you that you need to begin to understand what this means for you. And there's no wrong way to approach this if you give yourself patience and time and commitment to do the inner work. It will be something on the other side of it that will have the most profound meaning, that will lead you back to the congruent, aligned state that you're really after. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and I'll see you next month. Bye for now.
Thank you, Meg. Incredible stuff. I did ask Meg to be one of the speakers in Las Vegas, but she's been booking so far out right now that she was not able to make it. But maybe next time we'll try to connect with her. She always brings us such incredible information. You know, one of the things that I've experienced recently, and I'm going to kind of add to some of the things that she said here about the connectiveness and about the plants feeling you and being able to translate the energy through means that we don't know. I've been, as many of you know, I'm in love, and I have a new girlfriend, and she is a person who loves to take walks in the woods. Well, I've been taking a lot of walks in the woods. And one of the interesting things that we always talk about when we're out there is this whole network of small, tiny tendrils which come out from the trees. If you've ever dug into the earth about 3 to 4 inches down, you'll find these little white, tiny things that go from the trees. They're beginnings of roots, but actually they're a communication system. And science has found this out, that there are ways of communicating where the trees all communicate with each other. But it's not just each other. They pick up everything. They pick up us when we walk through the woods. They experience us in all sorts of different ways. And those are actually some of the things we're going to be working with when we talk about connecting with the earth. We're actually going to be giving you some exercises to hook into those tendrils, which are just below the surface of the earth, to talk to the trees, to communicate in different ways, to work with crystals and some of the other energies as well. But it's absolutely fascinating, and Meg's whole segment today about that was just absolutely incredible. So thank you, Meg. Good to see you, and glad you're with us here. Okay, now we'll hear from Sandy real quick. A smile, everybody.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sandy's Bookworms. This month's bookworm is a bit different than those that I've shared so far. It's a work of fiction that might initially appeal to women more than men, though I would definitely encourage enlightened men to read it. I'll tell you why in a moment. I met the author of this book several years ago on the VirtualLight Broadcast, back when we used to film the show in front of a live audience in Las Vegas. The book she was promoting then was her memoir, Unearthing Venus. It was so good, and her writing was so impressive that we stayed in touch and continued our conversations over the years. The author's name is Kate Montana, and I'm going to start by reading the opening words of her first novel, which is the book I want to share with you. It started with a vision. It was spring 2015, and I was in Greece visiting the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. The second day I was there, I hiked up Mount Parnassus to get away from the tourists. There, on a windswept cliff, high above the ancient temple complex, a gorgeous man appeared out of nowhere. He sat down next to me and said, "Hi, I'm Apollo. I have things to tell humanity. Let's talk." And then he was gone. Apollo and Me is the story and conversation that unfolded from that extraordinary meeting. Now, it's not often that a writer or a book leaves me struggling for words, but Kate Montana has done it twice. First, with her achingly honest, raw, and frequently very funny memoir, Unearthing Venus, and now with her first work of fiction, some might call it that, which is called Apollo and Me. The problem is I find it impossible to describe the impact both books had on me without sounding like a rabid groupie. But it's not just Montana's writing skill which fills me with envy, or the way she sets up her stories, both the real events and the ones she invents, so that when a denouement comes, it strikes you like a physical punch in the gut. It's more of an alchemical combination, a magical blending, I think, of her sublime writing style, expert pacing, her rhythm and her plotting, and her enviable mastery of the art of storytelling. But even that doesn't convey the impact that Apollo and Me has had on me and several others who took up my challenge to read it. So, having spent hours trying and failing to find words that would do justice to Apollo and Me, I'm just going to say this. Regardless of your agenda, read this book. And in the event that you feel moved at any point in the early pages to dismiss it as merely a love story, dismiss the thought instead. Move beyond it and keep reading, because you haven't got to it yet. Then, when you get to the part where the unexpected happens, and you feel yourself recoiling, speechless in shock. Take a few moments or days to just sit with your thoughts, and as the faint whispers of ancient memories or recognition stir, or a deep welling of empathy rises, as I'm sure it will, pay close attention to how your body responds, as this is the point where you may hear or feel your soul responding. And this is when you may comprehend that what appears on the surface to be merely a superior version of a Harlequin-style romance actually contains some of the deepest and most radical spiritual information you've ever encountered, which may cause you to wonder how much of this is truth and how much of this is fiction. Apollo and Me is a love story that blends spirituality, mythology, reincarnation and sexuality, a sensuous tale of an older woman's awakening to the divine feminine and the real nature of the gods under the tutelage of her cross-lifetimes lover, the Greek god Apollo. And as I said, don't be put off by those words, love story. Kate Montana has a master's degree in psychology and speaks and teaches about consciousness, quantum physics and spirituality. An author, writing coach and a noted authority on ego evolution, transpersonal psychology, transcendent states of consciousness, spiritual enlightenment and feminine and masculine archetypes, Kate's main focus today is bringing information about the mystery of the feminine nature and an understanding of the profound energetic forces behind both genders to a mainstream audience. Of all the books I've read, Apollo and Me by Kate Montana stands in a class of its own for many, many reasons, and I think you'll understand some of them if and when you read the book. The book is available in paperback and ebook from outlets like Amazon, and you can find a free downloadable EPUB excerpt at the No BS Spiritual Book Club, where I occasionally share my personal bookworms, by which I mean those rare, thought-provoking, awareness-shifting books that I regard as a cut above the rest for the way they shine new light on how we view life, the world, and ourselves. And Kate has generously added a full-length EPUB gift copy and an MP3 recording of her memoir, Unearthing Venus, for you too. So if this resonates, do take advantage of those gifts. And while you're on the No BS Spiritual Book Club website, why not join the club? There are no ads, no gimmicks and no BS, just an ever-growing library of 10 best lists from well-known and not so well-known authors, teachers and speakers you can trust. People like Dan Millman, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., Lee Harris, David G. and many more who've walked this path before you. You'll also find free book excerpts, audios and entertainment with my weekly live streaming video interviews in which contributors of their lists reveal the intimate details of how their 10 best spiritual books impacted their lives, their thinking and the work they're doing now. So, if you're looking for the best and most highly recommended spiritual reads to support you on your spiritual journey of self-discovery, check out my 10 Best Spiritual Books archive at the NoBSSpiritualBookClub.com, where you can also view over 150 episodes of my weekly interview series. Now, one final thing before we close. Maya Angelou once said that there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. If you feel that you have a book in you, but you have no clue where to begin, how to begin getting it out of your head and into the hands of those who are waiting to read it, visit my website, sedgebeer.com, click on the Work With Me tab, and find out how my experience helping others tell their stories might be just what you've been looking for. That's sedgebeer.com, sedgebeer.com. That's it for this month. I hope you'll join me again next month when I'll be sharing another of my favourite bookworms with you.
Thank you, Sandy. Incredible stuff. She's the author, she's the editor of several of my books. I'm very honored to say the group is very particular about who they let who works with the material, and she is highly recommended amongst everything. So thanks, Sandy. Incredible work. I appreciate it. We asked Sandy to join us to be a guest speaker in Breda when we go in November. I don't know if she's going to be able to make it yet. She's got her own schedule. We'll find out. We've also asked this next lady if she can join us in Breda because both Sandy and Allison live in the UK, which isn't that far from the Netherlands. There's an underground tunnel that can get there in about 2 hours, hopefully. We'll see. Anyway, we'll find out more about that when we go. But next up is Allison Chester Lambert, one of my favorite people in the world. Here we go.
Hi, let's talk astrology. So I'm here to bring you a weather report, if you like, about the astrology for the times that we're in at the moment, looking at August 2023. And we have quite an interesting contrast in the sky, which I will describe to you and see if you think it kind of reflects in your life somewhere. So the big four outer planets, so from Saturn out, are all sitting in feminine zodiac signs. So this means that feminine energy is being highly accentuated. The weather report is that we are surrounded by feminine energy. And so I'll just describe what that might feel like. The feminine is introvert. The feminine pulls in. It's like gravity pulling in. So the feminine is about the unconscious. It's about the dark, really, just sitting in the dark and waiting for something to happen. It's passive. It's very receptive to movement and things, but it thinks about it and it examines it and it goes over it, the psychology of things, psychology of behavior. And it's cautious. It's not going to, for instance, make waves or rush out there and sort of have a big band and announce itself and demand that, you just spend the whole night partying. It's quite reflective and quiet. So, okay. Right. Now, with that much in feminine energy, that's what we've got at our disposal. Now, with that type of energy, I can imagine that we would want to sleep more because the world of the unconscious is the one that is beckoning. We would feel tired and drained because social battery or social activity battery levels are very low. And so therefore, we haven't got a ready supply of energy willingly giving us more energy to do things. So if we've planned to go to the zoo in the afternoon because the kids are on holiday and then we're going out for dinner that night, you might find at the end of it that I'm exhausted. I can't take this. I'm just exhausted. And it's the fact that there isn't a ready masculine energy, energetic energy there for you to pull on. And so you're sort of fighting against the weather, if you see what I mean. So, so we've got that going on. I'll just explain which planets they are, for instance, so that we can kind of get the picture. So let's just take the four outer planets. So Saturn, let's start with Saturn. So Saturn's a big gas giant. It's that pretty one with the rings round it. So Saturn is an earth element planet, and Saturn is sitting in Pisces. Earth element feminine, Pisces water element feminine. Okay. Next planet out is Uranus. Now, Uranus is a masculine planet, but it is sitting in Taurus, and it is completely incarcerated in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed, concrete energy. Absolutely no nonsense. It doesn't let anything go. It is so security-minded, it's going to put concrete Wellingtons on Uranus. In fact, it's going to smother the whole planet in concrete and Uranus is not going to be able to do anything. Having said that, we did get a fireball across the States, I think, 2 or 3 nights ago, and that made me laugh because it's a typical Uranus thing, a fireball hitting the Earth. Taurus is the Earth. I thought that was quite amusing. But anyway, so that's just, all right, we get this one fireball. It's, one swallow doesn't make a summer. Overall, the energy is quite dulled. So then let's move on. So we've then got Neptune. Neptune, big water planet in its own zodiac sign, Pisces, more water. The next big planet, Pluto. Well, the big planet that we know about, actually, it's quite small. Pluto, a water planet, right? And the water planet is sitting in Capricorn again, a feminine earth sign. So, all in all, we're quite saturated with feminine energy. Now, we do have the sun in Leo, right? Now, that's very bright and it's very adventurous and it's very dramatic and there's lots of fun and excitement in Leo. But this is for the school holidays, right? So this is what I'm saying. We've got this contrast of, okay, it's summer. We should be having a real good time and my batteries should be topping up and my vitamin D should be topping up and all the rest of it. But I just feel so exhausted. I could just go back to bed. At the moment, I wake up tired. And an hour later, I'm thinking, I could just go back to bed. And I think it is to do with these energy levels. That's what I think anyway. So hopefully that is helping with that. This is all to do with, by the way, the rise of the feminine, which I was predicting back in 2015 on the VirtualLight Broadcast. It kicked in 2019 with COVID, so I was bang on with the year, but and it's still showing itself in the planets, the rise of the feminine. But what that means is that we're in energy which doesn't seek growth. So it doesn't seek commercial growth, industrial growth, tech growth, it doesn't seek any of that. It seeks to come back in. It seeks gravity. It seeks to pull into the center. It seeks localizing. So we need to relocalize and deglobalize. Feminine energy doesn't like to have money sent from New York to Australia to China to London. Feminine energy says, well, you should take your £10 and give it to the grocer locally. So it'll stay local because it's better for the planet. It means there's not so much travel. We're not sort of wearing out the resources. We're not over plundering resources, etc. So there we go. So to do, I don't know. I suspect it's best to just have your duvet day and not plan too much. Maybe have one day when you're, like, oh my gosh, we've now got to do the zoo and dinner, and then the next day think, now we're going to have downtime now. It is a time for reflectiveness, and so take advantage of that if you can. And long-term planning works best in feminine. Long-term planning is brilliant when feminine's around, because it waits and watches and thinks about stuff and it doesn't leap in like masculine does. So I suggest that's something you could be doing. Anyway, so we'll look at the rest of August, shall we? I've got all sorts going on here. So we have a new moon on the 16th of August. And so that's the moon and the sun both in Leo. Leo, as I was saying, is a vibrant, dramatic, exciting, visible, colourful zodiac sign. And so therefore, that should be the time when you're most creative, most exciting, most dramatic. And yes, it will be. This is my blind cat that's walking around behind me. If he comes near me, I'll pick him up and show you. His name's Freya. Anyway, so new moon. I was interested to a comment from a client recently about the moon. Well, we only get to see it twice a month or something. Actually, the moon is in the sky all the time, always. There's always a moon in the sky. Sometimes it can be on the side of the earth because it's nighttime or daytime, and it happens to be in the day sky or the night sky. Yes, that happens, but it's always there. So the moon is quite, it's quite supportive. It stays with us. And moving on, the next moon event in August is on the 31st of August, and that's when we have another full moon in August. Now, the papers are making this big thing about a blue moon. We've got a blue moon. And what they mean is they've got 2 full moons in one calendar month, right? This isn't astrological. It has no astrology meaning because in astrology, a month is when the sun moves into a zodiac sign and then comes out of that zodiac sign and into the next one, which normally happens about the 3rd week of any calendar month. So we don't have 2 full moons in the same zodiac sign. We have 2 full moons in the same calendar month, and they're calling it a blue moon for that reason. Okay, yeah, it's alerting people to the presence of the moon and making the sky part of our lives. So I'm very happy to see the headlines, but no particular meaning in astrology because that full moon will be in Pisces because the sun is in Virgo. Okie dokie. Right. So the other thing to talk about at the moment is making the most of August and the sun being in Leo, because when the sun moves into Virgo, which is around the 20-something, early 21st, 22nd, 23rd of August, something like that. I haven't checked. It's different every year. We will notice quite a dump down into the feminine. The sun has been keeping us relatively buoyant, even in this feminine atmosphere. When it goes into Virgo, another feminine earth sign, then you'll notice quite a sort of a cliff face cut off, and a real need to get into feminine energy, to start to prepare to go into the dark, to hoard things, to pull in, etc. So make the most of what we've got in terms of the masculine energy at the moment. Right. Well, I hope that was useful. I would love to see you for a reading. Alison Chester Lambert, that's me. Google me and you'll find my website. You can book a reading and we can sit and have a natter, and I'd be really pleased to talk to you. That would be great. It's nice to do that. In the meantime, I hope that was okay, and I will see you next month, and have a lovely summer. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.
Thank you, Allison. Absolutely magical. I love the way these things all come together and we all end up talking about something very similar without comparing notes. It's really magical. We're all connected, kind of like those tendrils I talked about earlier. We're connected in different ways. We just haven't found exactly how to describe that yet. So welcome. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Meria for the final close for today. But I hope you had a wonderful month so far and continue into August. It's going to be a very magical time. August, September, and October are going to be very transformative months this year, the group says. So we'll look forward to that. Glad you're here on Earth with us. Thanks for being a part of the family. And with that, let's go on into the channel. Find your center. Release your thoughts of the day. Let it begin. Greetings, dear ones. I am Meria. I join you with great pride, for our side of the veil watches everything you're doing with amazement sometimes, for you are on the planet of free choice. You do not have a set standard that you follow. You're able to change things momentarily. Throughout all of the universe, dear ones, you are not alone. There are many beings that are working together with you to evolve to the next levels, the same as you. And we tell you planet Earth is rather unique, for it is the only planet of free choice, or was the only planet of free choice, until you started evolving in this way. And now, of course, there is several other planets of free choice. And with all of that, dear ones, before that, every single planet, every single place where there was evolution of the type that you are experiencing, always had a pre-direction. You would find that you could only go so far in one way, and it would bring you back to a central truth that everyone shared, innately, automatically understood it, but not planet Earth. And with that freedom to be able to choose freely, we tell you there is one word that has gone throughout all of your scriptures, all of your writings, all of your music, over and over and over and over again. The word is love. And that's what I wish to speak of this day. For we tell you with free choice and the way humans have defined things, it is not the same as many of the other planets. There are many other planets, dear ones, throughout the universe that have defined things and worked in different ways. And one is not right and one is not wrong. But when you are finally able to connect and actually share notes and share your understanding of these things, it will be amazing to you to find out how this is dealt with in different cultures, in different ways, and how it has evolved over periods of time. Now, you talk of marriage for just a moment. Now, marriage is not love, although hopefully love is what builds a marriage in the first place. But you see, dear ones, that is not how marriage began on planet Earth. Marriage began as a political arrangement. Back in the days when a ruler would marry off his daughter into another powerful family to have a connection of sorts. And the common folks never thought of getting married. Isn't that interesting? Today, when you talk of love, many times your thoughts automatically go toward marriage, and that is one form of an expression of love, but it's only one. There are so many other ways. And with this portal open right now, we tell you the biggest question is, how much love can you hold? How much can you express? How much can you bring into your being? Because that's what lights up your eyes. That's what brings out your spirit. That's what clarifies the bodysuit so the spirit can be seen every step of the way that you're taking. Those are magical times. So with that, let us speak of that for a moment. Now, quite honestly, on planet Earth, you experience conditional love just as much as you experience unconditional love. And one is not right and one is not wrong. It's simply an understanding of how you have built things. Conditional love simply means that many times, having to do especially with love relationships, that in order for you to love, the love must be returned. It must be balanced in some way. And if one person loves the other person more than the other, it probably would not work, because it doesn't typically work that way. Your belief systems about love sometimes block your experience of love. And that's about to change. So we'll tell you much of this, because all of that opportunity to just love openly is becoming more important for everyone. And we're not telling you that marriage is going away. It's a beautiful expression of love. It's a beautiful commitment to walk hand in hand with someone, whether you're married or whether you're simply in a relationship in that way. Monogamy itself is going to continue on planet Earth for some time, and yet you're starting to experience things outside of that. You're starting to experience polyamory. You're starting to experience different expressions of love. So simply know that when you love, you are the winner, not the person you love. The gift belongs to the giver, not to the receiver. And that is the biggest thing we can tell you. What can you fall in love with? Now, if it is an inanimate object, and of course there are no inanimate objects, Even the stones beneath your feet are breathing and vibrating. We'll share more with that about when we get to the crystals of planet Earth and how she vibrates herself. But what can you love unconditionally? You know, over here, not too far from where the keeper sits right now, is a door. It's the door to his closet, and there is a doorknob on that closet. What if he fell in love with that doorknob, and every time he passed that doorknob, his heart lit up a little bit? Do you think the doorknob would benefit from that? No, he does. He lights up because he has learned to carry more love for everything and every step of the way on planet Earth. That is a magical time. Now, with relationships themselves, dear ones, we know they are very tricky. We know they are challenging the way many of you have built it, especially on planet Earth. But we tell you there are many opportunities out there to see other ways that other cultures have now built this expressions of love. And it's truly amazing. And one is not right and one is not wrong. Those concepts are limited to the third dimension. You are now firmly in the fifth dimension. Yes, you're still trying to use the rules of the third dimension and the success of the third dimension to create your reality. But the more that you work with it, the more you step into the fifth dimension. So what does fifth dimensional love really look like? Well, we tell you for one thing, dear ones, in the fifth dimension, love is not a noun. It is a verb. We do not ask you to ever understand love as a feeling. Love is a practice. And with the word practice simply means also, not only is it an expression of something you do, but it's also something you practice over and over and over again. And when you learn to love unconditionally over and again, even your conditional relationships improve. What do we mean by conditional relationships? Well, even your vows of marriage, as we spoke. Those are set of conditions, are they not? I will love you as long as this. But in reality, dear ones, when you actually love another spirit, it lasts forever. Not just one lifetime, but many. Now, what you allow yourself to fall in love with is often confused because of your belief systems. It's often confused thinking that you can only love one person, but no mother that has more than one child would ever agree with that. You love everyone a little bit differently because they're a different spirit. They're a different expression of the Creator through a physical body. And it's a magical time to work with it. Now, also, we tell you of one important aspect, and that is, what is love and how can you measure it? Well, dear ones, there's a very simple way to look at that. The measurement of love can also be measured by the opposite of love. How much fear do you carry? For fear is clearly the opposite of love. When you have love in your heart, you cannot carry fear. Those two elements cannot occupy the same space in your being. It does not work. Love always wins out. Now, does that mean that if you love your enemies, that your enemies go away or somehow come to your side or start to understand? No, it's not about changing them. It's about changing you. That's the critical point. How much love can you carry? Now, as we've mentioned before, and as the Observer mentioned a little bit earlier and last month, even M talked about it. The fact of the matter is, this portal looks like it's going to stay open. You're starting to make huge advances in your reality. And that is magical. And you're not the only ones working on it. You have beings of other planets that are also working on keeping the portal on planet Earth open. You have the Earth herself, who's experiencing all sorts of massive changes going on, who is working on keeping this portal open. The portal opens to love in the universe. Now, there's many that are afraid of those things, many that are concerned about that. In some ways, what if we open this portal and some of these beings from other planets come and take us over? It doesn't happen with love, dear ones. That is fear. So what do you carry in your being? Do you carry love or do you carry fear? And typically it's a mixture of both. That is very common of planet Earth. But we're asking you to carry as much of the love part of it as you can. And furthermore, dare to express it. The challenge many times, dear ones, is you walk down the street. You walk down the street, you see a stranger that you've never seen before. They smile at you. And what do? Well, most of the time you look away. If you're very brave, you'll look them in the eye and smile back. You'll return and reflect their love. That's what we're asking you to do. It doesn't mean that you have to change your relationships or step into polyamory or do anything of that nature. What it means is to understand love for what it truly is. Love is a practice. How can you practice love? How can you work with that in different ways? Because that's what fills you up. That's what triggers your prosperity in the world and your creations around you, is how much love you can express in all the magical ways that you do. These are grand times on planet Earth, dear ones. Things are changing themselves very rapidly, and planet Earth is opening to new possibilities. She will not be dying, dear ones. That is not what's happening. What we're telling you could be happening is that humans may be leaving the Earth. But she is working very hard to change some of those processes. In July of this year, you have had new records for heat on planet Earth. Yes, some of you say, well, here where I live, it's not really particularly hot, or it hasn't been any hotter than it has been before. But if you look at the overall temperature of Earth, the first 16 days of July set new records every day. You're starting to move into the 1.2 Celsius range of being able to be out of the Holocene. In other words, moving into a raise of temperature. Once you hit that 1.5, nothing will ever return to the same. And in fact, it's going to be very difficult to maintain life in the same way. How can you change it? How can one person walking around change all of that on planet Earth? With love. You're connected the same way that the trees are connected, the same way that every being is connected at home. At home, everything is connected to everything. You understand you are one, not separate from each other. Here you take off your wings, you put on the bodysuit, and you come to play Earth, and you come to pretend that you are separate from each other, but you're not. Love that part. Dare to see that part in each other. Dare to find those connections, and you'll step into a higher vibrations of the fifth dimensional expression of love. It's time, dear ones. Know that love is a practice. Love is not a noun, it is a verb. Welcome home. And we love you dearly. And yet, sometimes those words are misconstrued. Sometimes they have a sexual reference to them that was never meant to be there. Love is from the heart, not from the sex organs. So when you understand that, dare to tell people how much you love them. Do you know how many people the keeper deals with on a regular basis when he does his private sessions with us? And people say, oh, I lost my father. I wish I would have told him that I loved him more. I wish I would have been able to really express my heart before he passed. I was not able to be there at the end. And they have this tremendous guilt about not speaking their love. Speak it now. Don't wait. These are the times that you can raise the vibration of everyone around you simply by falling in love. Look into the hearts and minds and eyes of all those around you and know that your connection is from home. You're here with a purpose, dear ones. Many of you have traveled backwards in time to be here at this exact moment. How much love can you carry? Welcome home, dear ones. We ask you to simply treat each other with respect. Fall in love as often as you can. Nurture one another at every opportunity and play well together in this new game. I am Meria. Come up and see me sometime. A spavo, dear ones. A spavo.